What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy Matty B and it might be the off season, but we got another Supercross series firing up this weekend in World Supercross as they got round one in Argentina going down this weekend. And while it may not have the star power and the depth of field that we've got here in AMA Supercross, it's still going to be a banger. They still got some top guys. It's still Supercross. And I don't know about you guys, but more racing in the off season is like a sore pecker to me. You just can't beat it. But for today's video, we're going to preview the series as well as the opening round that's going down in Argentina this weekend, starting with the teams and riders as we'll get into who all's racing this thing, who they're racing it for, and we're even going to have some gas versus electric showdowns with a very controversial rider. And then there's the wild cards. Some of the biggest names in the whole series are only racing a select couple of rounds, but we'll get to see a couple of debuts from riders on new teams, new bikes, and number of CCs, as then we'll have Deegan in the mix in the 450 class. We'll get into the schedule of where they're racing and when they're racing, the format, which is actually pretty unique to World Supercross. We'll talk about how to watch, and the broadcast team, as one of the fan favorites is back in the booth. The series has a new director of racing who is not only somebody who's made an appearance on Team USA at the Motocross of Nations, but also an MXGP winner and somebody I spent my entire life growing up racing with. And then, of course, you guys know this is always in the contract. We got to do a track preview, even though the track map is a little bit sus. And last but not least, always the most fun part of the video, and those are my predictions for what I think is going to go down at round one this weekend in Argentina, along with what I think is going down for the series. But you guys probably know the drill by now. Before I get into all that stuff, I got to give a huge thank you to my channel sponsors. ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever. Serious Studio, who's got the sickest merch out there. If you need it, they got it. And the DesignLabCo.com. They've got some sick designs in their lab at their co, and they can take care of all your graphic needs. And if you buy from any of them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep the channel going. So if you're supporting them, you're supporting me. I have links and discount codes in my video description, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. To start off today's World Supercross Info National, we're going to go over the rider list and the team list for both the 250 and the 450 classes and go over who all's racing this series. And in the 250 class, or SX2 as they call it, starting with Quad Lock Honda, you have Shane McElrath and TBC. And I know what you guys are thinking. TBC is coming in looking strong and probably going to be the favorite, but I think he's been replaced by Anthony Bourdon, who will be McElrath's teammate. Then there's Rick Ware Racing, powered by Arby's. They got the meats, baby, but they are also partnered up with Club MX and will be on Club MX Yamahas with Enzo Lopes and Cody with a T-Shock. And oh man, I almost forgot. I'm going to try to beat the Brazilians to the punch on this one. Vamos Enzo. Then there's Pipes Motorsports Group on Just Kicking It, Kmart Suzuki's with Kyle Chisholm and Robbie Wageman. And guys, please don't take my Suzuki hate all that seriously. I just had one that I hated back in the day. I'm sure it's the best damn thing you can buy at a Kmart. Then there's Moto Concepts Racing with Cullen Park and Noah Viney, and they'll be racing Hondas. Team GSM has Max Anstey and Maxime Dupre on Yamahas, and Anstey will be on a star bike, so yeah, that'll be lethal. Bud Racing Kawasaki has Canadian Cole Thompson and the Arena Crash undefeated champ legend Kyle Peters. And then for the final team, here's where things get interesting, part one, as we've got Stark Vargs in the lineup with Michael Hicks and Lance Kobush. And I have no idea what the number is going to be, but the horsepower is going to be limited, and especially in this 250 class, it's going to be super important to make sure those things are choked down because, in my opinion, 50 horsepower on a Stark is way gnarlier than 50 horsepower on a gas bike. But we're going to have some silent killers on the line, and I hope they bring their double A's because we got a pretty solid SX2 lineup. Then on to SX1, or the 450 class as we know it. Quad Lock Honda has Joey Savacci, who should be coming in as a title contender, along with Christian Craig, who's looking to revitalize his career. The Rick Ware Racing Club MX Arby's hybrid team has Henry Miller and Devin Simonson. Pipes Motorsports Group has Ken Roczen and Jason Anderson, who should both be coming into this thing looking at a championship run. Then there's Moto Concepts Racing with Austin Politelli and Ryan Brees, who are racing this series and the AMA Arena Cross series. Team GSM Yamaha has a French lineup with Greg Aranda and Jordi Tixier. Bud Racing Kawasaki is coming in with Justin Hill and Matt Moss. And last but not least is for sure the most intriguing part of the entire rider lineup, and that is the Stark Varg team with Vince Friese and Jorge Zaragoza. And obviously, for good reason, Friese's making the headlines on that team as he always comes with a bunch of drama, aggressive riding, and all-around entertainment every time he's on the track. And even though the horsepower is going to be limited on these things, the Stark Vargs are insanely fast, unbelievable torque, and Friese's already one of the best starters we've ever seen, so I think it's pretty safe to say the guy's probably going to get out front. All these guys are going to have to go through him, and the easiest place is probably going to be in the whoops because the electric bikes do not really thrive in the whoop sections. And with all due respect, neither does Vince Friese, but it's going to be pretty wild having the dude out there as a silent killer. He was already a menace on the gas bike when you could hear him coming, and now you just might get obliterated out of nowhere. But I heard from a very good source that Stark does not want that kind of publicity and actually asked Vince to tone it down, and he said he would be better. But you know we're just going to have to wait until the gate drops and see if he actually stands by that. But apart from Friese, his teammate is Jorge Zaragoza, and I feel like he's coming in very under the radar. But this dude is incredibly legit, a great Supercross rider, a great all-around rider, and he could be a serious factor up front. But those are all the riders signed up for the whole series, all 5 rounds, but there's also some wild cards that are only signed up for select rounds, starting with Justin Cooper, the only man to survive the entire 2025 SMX season, all 31 races, and the Motocross of Nations. So honestly, I'm pretty shocked that he's even doing this, but money talks. I'm sure he's got some really good show-up money in the contract, and we're going to see J. Coop at round 1 in Argentina and round 2 in Canada. And then, with all due respect to J. Coop, we got one that's way more exciting in Eli Tomac, as he'll be making his debut on the Red Bull KTM. And it's going to be super cool to not only get to see him make his debut before AMA Supercross starts, but also see exactly where he's at on the KTM. And as for the actual debut, it's going to be in round 2 in Canada, and then he'll also be showing up to round 3 in Australia. Then there's Mr. Supercross, Cooper Webb, the defending champion from 2025. And as of the last few years, Coop has really leveraged these off-season races to his advantage to make sure he's ready and sharp for A1. And in regards to World Supercross, looks like he's going to be doing the same thing, as he's not in for the whole series, but he will be showing up for round 3 in Australia. And while the wild cards might only be doing select rounds, a lot of the biggest stars in the series are the wild cards, and then there's one more wild card, which will be the wild card of all wild cards, and that'll be Hayden Deegan. Originally, he was announced to be racing the series as a wild card in the 250 class, but plans changed, he had no choice, but now he'll be making his 450 debut this weekend in Argentina, as well as racing round 3 in Australia. And for me, this is one of, if not the most exciting part of the series, and how do you guys think it's going to go? On one hand, it kind of seems like a bold strategy Cotton to make the debut early, but on the other hand, this is way more of a ease it in, dip your toe in strategy than showing up to A1 and racing the full field would be. And the more I think about it, the more I think it's kind of the perfect time to make the debut. He's still going to get to test himself against the top guys of the sport like Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac, Ken Roczen, and Jason Anderson, but what he's not going to have to deal with is the entire rest of the field, and it'll be a deep field of 450 riders that are going to be racing at A1, and who's to say he doesn't race A1 anyway? I think all that kind of hinges on how this whole experiment goes. But even for this series, there were rumors floating around that if round 1 went really well, then maybe he'd jump in for the whole series, but I'm not really sure if there's any substance behind that one, so take it with a grain of pepper. But one thing that you don't have to take with a grain of anything is Deegan is definitely going to bring more entertainment into the series. The 450 debut has already had people talking for weeks. He's going to be up against the top dogs of the sport. He's even got to race Friese at the Duracell National. Imagine the beef that could start there. But all that aside, he looks good in the videos, he looks good on the gram, and he looks good on YouTube, but those are all kind of designed to make him look good, and the practice tracks are a whole different story than the races. But at the end of the day, it's Hayden Deegan. He's super talented, he's a racer, and I think he's going to throw himself right in the mix. Next up, we'll go over the schedule, and it is a short season, a quick 5-round series, and it's all done in just over a month. And like I've been saying, round 1 is this weekend in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I just looked up how to say it, so it's gotta be right. But that's the opener this weekend on November 8th. Then for round 2, it's the Canadian GP in Vancouver, and that's going down on November 15th. Round 3 heads to the Land Down Under for the Australian GP in Queensland. That'll be on November 29th, followed by round 4, which will be the Swedish GP in Stockholm. That's on December 6th. Then the series finale for round 5 is the South African GP. And bring your cape, because that'll be in Cape Town to wrap up the series on December 13th. And like I said, it's a short schedule, but a pretty cool schedule. It heads to 5 continents for 5 rounds, all with 0 choice. Now, let's go over the format, as World Supercross has a bit of a unique one that's quite a bit different than the one we have here in AMA Supercross. It starts out the same with practice to learn the track, and then there's qualifying, which you use to set one fast lap to get a gate pick for the races. But then, here's where the format starts to get different, as then you have Superpole. The top 4 riders from qualifying in both the SX2 and SX1 classes get to go for one fast lap all by themselves on the track. And usually, this is for points or something with a little bit higher stakes, but for this one, the winner of Superpole gets the first gate pick for the main event, so not quite as much on the line, but it's still always fun to watch the top guys throw down for one lap at a time. But after that, then it's race time, and instead of the heat race, LCQ, and main event format that we have here in the States, there's not enough riders for all that, so it's 3 sprint races. Same amount of laps for both classes. Sprint races 1 and 2 are 8 laps each, and then the third race, which they're calling the main race, that'll be a 12-lap finale. And even the point structure is quite a bit different than we're used to seeing. Sprint races 1 and 2 pay considerably less points than main race number 3. And on top of that, sprint races 1 and 2 only pay the top 10, while the main race number 3 pays the entire field, but every race counts. At the end of the night, you'll add up the amount of points everybody has from all 3 races, and that'll give you the GP round winner for both the SX2 and the SX1 classes. And that ain't it, there's even a team winner. Trophies for everybody, well, except for all the losers. Next up, I'm sure you guys are all wondering, how the hell do you watch these races? You can watch them live with a 90-day season pass to Recast TV for $30. It also says that Fox Sports 1 and 2 are the official US and Canadian broadcast partners. So it sounds like you can either pay to watch it live or just check out FS1 or FS2 for the rerun. And I'm sure a lot of you guys will be stoked to do so because we got a fan favorite back in the booth. AMA Supercross exile Daniel Blair will be paired up with Ralph Shaheen and Kristen Beat to bring you guys the broadcast for World Supercross. But this should be cool, a couple of the past voices of AMA Supercross teaming up to bring you World Supercross. And that's not it for Daniel Blair, he's also going to be doing the broadcast for the GT Arena Cross Series with somebody else I know, somebody else that I know very well actually. Stay tuned for an announcement. Then, I don't even really know what this entails, not at all, but I just thought it was cool that my guy Thomas Covington is back in the mix. World Supercross has signed him on to be the new director of racing. And I touched on it a little bit in my intro, but Thomas is such a legend of moto, a GP winner. He's been on Team USA for the Motocross of Nations, tons and tons of amateur championships. He was a Team Green racer. I grew up racing with him my entire life. He retired early, and I'm not really sure where he's been, but definitely sick to see him back. Like I said, I don't really know what he's going to have to do for this job, but in my experience, when you have somebody that's been around racing and been there and done it for that long, it's only a good thing. Getting towards the end of the video, next up is our track preview for round 1 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And we got either one of two things going on. This is either the biggest stadium with the smallest track I've ever seen, or maybe our track map's just a little bit out of proportion. It should be the latter, but you never know. You got the start right in the middle of the stadium, bright lights and fans everywhere, at least in this graphic there are. But then you got the first corner, a 180 sweeper to the left, then our first rhythm, a double in, and then it looks like a triple-triple. I think it'd be built to provide a few more options than that, but we'll see. Then you got a 180 bull corner to the right, a step-on, step-off, and then a triple right in front of the fans. Then you get a turning wall jump, which is Trump's favorite jump. That dude loves walls. Then you got a weird rhythm section. I'm not even going to guess what you're supposed to do. Into a left-handed 180. Then we got a sand straightaway with some mogul, some chop, and a little bit in between. Another 180 bull corner to the right, and then a double out. The straightaway looks like it could be 3 doubles, but the arrow has way bigger and better ideas. A 90 to the right, and then a double out of the corner into a rhythm section, which looks like it could be a step-on, step-off single. Another right-handed 180. Doesn't look like a huge berm, which is a bummer because then you got a big old long set of whoops, and we're going to want to see people get a good drive into there. But out of the whoops, a double into another 180 to the left, a pop triple out of the final corner, and then the finish line. And I guess according to the track map, the lap is just over right as you hit the face of the finish line, but after the finish line, then you get a right-handed 180 back onto the start straight. And if I may say so myself, I really hope the real track is a lot better than the track map because that track map was a janky national. And last but certainly not least, it's prediction time, as I'll give you guys my predictions for both the series and round 1 this weekend in Argentina. For round 1 this weekend, I'm going to go with Ken Roczen for the win, Justin Cooper for second, and Joey Savacci for third. Then in the 250 class, same thing, I got to pick a past champ and Max Anstey for the win, Cody Schock for second, and Shane McElrath in third. Those are my top 3 picks, and although it's not AMA Supercross with the insane depth of field, those picks still leave a lot of guys off the podium like Jason Anderson, Christian Craig, Justin Hill, Vince Friese, Enzo Lopes, Cole Thompson, Michael Hicks, and oh yeah, Hayden Deegan. It's hard for me to leave somebody that damn good off the podium, but it's the first 450 race. World Supercross is a little different, so I think it's going to be a bit of an adjustment. The whole point of this is to kind of ease his way into it anyway, and it's definitely not that I don't think he has the talent. He'll definitely be fast enough. He's definitely good enough. But in my opinion, I think it's going to come down to starts. The Yamaha 450 is an absolute fire-breathing, rocket ship dragon national, and I just think it's going to be tough to hang on to. I think it's going to take some adjustment, and the World Supercross tracks have not quite lent themselves to passing as good as the AMA Supercross ones do. And on top of that, I don't really think the format does him any favors either. Deegan usually does a lot of late race damage, and all these races are sprint races, and even the last race is only 12 laps. The dude needs more time so he can race him when it's time. But with all that being said, it will not surprise me if he comes out and does really well. Hell, he could even win. But either way, Deegan will be in the mix, he'll be exciting, and I think he's only going to get better after round 1. And finally, my predictions for the championship, pretty straightforward and pretty similar to my predictions for round 1. In the 450 class, I'm going to go with Ken Roczen for the championship, and then in the 250 class, I'm going with Max Anstey. As far as the guys that are actually doing the whole series, those are definitely the two best guys in their class. They've both won this championship before, and especially in the 250 class, Anstey should far and above have the best bike. I don't think they're going to win these championships going away, as it's a short series, not a whole lot of time to get a huge points lead, and Roczen and Anstey will have several challenges from some of the guys that I mentioned earlier. But as far as today's video, that's all I got for you guys. I hope the info in today's video got you guys fired up for some off-season Supercross series racing. It's not quite AMA Supercross, but it's still got some good guys. Gates are still going to be dropping, and there's still going to be entertainment. But as always, please let me know what you guys thought of the video, if you agree or disagree with my takes, if you enjoyed the info, or maybe you thought the video sucked and I'm just a cooked unit. Whatever you gotta say, throw it my way, it'll be okay. But thank you guys again for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time.